What goes on, guys? We're back here again with yet another review, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Lightning Collection Mighty Morphin Pudgy Pig by Hasbro. Now, I don't do these Lightning Collection at all. In fact, even as a kid, I hated Power Rangers. I thought it was so stupid and corny and not in an enjoyable way. I just didn't like it. But when I saw that I remember Pudgy Pig when I was a kid because it was on in the morning before school, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So I was like, okay, whatever, it's on, blah, blah, blah. I don't really like it, but I'll watch it and wait till SpongeBob comes on. But I remember when Pudgy Pig came on, it was the funniest thing to me, and I loved it. And those are the only episodes that I would watch like more than once and not think this is completely ridiculous by liking that it's completely ridiculous. And when I saw that they were going to be doing a Pudgy Pig, I was like, hell freaking yeah, I have to get this, especially for the price point, which we'll talk about more later in the video. But this thing looks goddamn awesome. So I'm really, really excited for this. But taking a look at the packaging here, it follows the art that the rest of the series has been using with this like cell shading of the character. Looks really awesome. I like the Pudgy Pig. Kind of goes on the side there. The side's really basic. It just says Mighty Morphin Power Rangers right there. Power Rangers Lightning Collection, Mighty Morphin Pudgy Pig. On the side, you get that same artwork that they use right here, so that looks awesome. On the back, you get like a digital rendering of the figure with the accessories. The paint doesn't really match that, which we could talk about a little bit more in a minute, but not that big a deal. And then on the bottom, you get your legalese and your barcode if you're looking for this guy. But I mean, this thing is awesome, and I've been waiting a couple hours to open this guy now, so I think it's about time that we do. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So taking this pig out of the packaging, I really, really like this figure. I mean, it's crazily engineered, and I don't think there's ever going to be a figure like it. I mean, it's basically just a ball with arms and legs, but they were able to put so much good sculpt and articulation into this thing without a lack of paint this time, because the deluxe, like monster type characters from Power Rangers, I've heard have a sore lack of paint. And that's kind of what makes them not successful and kind of like peg warmers and go on clearance, like the King Sphinx and the Pumpkin Wrapper. So he doesn't really have a lack of paint. Could he use more? I think a wash over the whole body would have been great, yes. But that little bit on the snout looks good, and we'll get a closer look. The plastic that they used for the helmet looks pretty good. I think a wash in the like feathered helmet would have been nice, but you know, overall, I think this is a much better figure, especially for the price point. I really like the way that this thing looks. So without further ado, I guess let's take a closer look at the head sculpt. Is that what we're calling this? This is sick as hell. The sculpt on that is nuts. And I'm probably going to put a wash on it just because there's a lot of good texture in the skin. If you look onto the arms here, a lot of good texture all the way down to the arms, and then the hoof like fingers, which look really good. I don't know what happened right there. I think I cut it. But that looks awesome. There's like this nice paint shading under the mouth and above the snout. There's even texture on the ears, and it goes all the way into the back. You get his little tail. You get the sculpt all the way up his back, I guess. I don't know what you would call that. The eyes are painted very cleanly. Oh, there's a little bit of sloppiness, but not too bad. The nose is painted nice with like the nostrils being darker. The teeth on each side, like the tusks, they look good. If you open his mouth, which you can open his mouth really wide, which is crazy, you can see down in there. Let me see if I can get that. You can see down in there that he has a uvula sculpted and the upper palate is sculpted. Like, it's nuts how well sculpted that is. That's awesome. On the feathers on the helmet, like the Roman helmet, looks sick. I like all the lines and sculpted great down there. This could definitely use a wash too, which I might do. So weathering on the helmet would be nice. And then down to the feet, you get his little like pig-like toes, like his hoofs. They look super nice. Pegals at the bottom of his feet, and then like all the sculpt back there. He kind of has like a little butt, but I think it looks awesome. The sculpt on this is nuts, and you know, obviously when we get to the articulation we'll talk about it, but there's a huge problem with my copy, and I'll talk about that in a second when I get to accessories. So this is what my figure comes with in terms of accessories. We have the giant fork and the giant knife, which these look cool, but they are just dull, cheap-looking plastic. I'm not a big fan of the way that these are painted. I mean, I could easily just get some overspray of silver paint and make these look better, but what are you going to do? And then you get the lightning effect that goes on top of the knife. You just kind of got to weave it through, and there's like a certain angle to put it. You get like the light, it's the lightning collection. I feel like they all have to come with a little bit of lightning effect, right? So he does. And then you're going to take these hands and put them in the gripping hands, I guess. Slide it through on that side, and then slide this through on the other side, and boom, you have him holding his knife and fork. Now, where my huge problem comes in is in the package, there were 2 sections cut out for extra hands. I did not get those. There are no extra hands in there. I'm going to try to email Hasbro about it because I think it should come with extra hands, and they were just not in the package. It was sealed, so nobody stole them. They were just not in there. I want to see if Hasbro can do something about that, because I'm pretty sure he's supposed to come with different hands, or maybe he was supposed to come with a different accessory that I'm just not aware about, because I haven't watched a review of this guy, because I don't like to watch reviews of figures that I know I'm going to review, to keep my own opinion. But that's really frustrating. It's really frustrating. I mean, I guess that's what I get for actually finding what I'm looking for relatively easy. I went into one Target and found this, which, doesn't happen too often. So, what are you going to do? But I think if those hands are included, the accessories would be good enough, especially considering the price point of $30. A completely non-reusable sculpt. I mean, what else can you use with this kind of a sculpt? For $30, $31, I think it was, 32, something like that. Totally fair in my opinion. So I really like that. It just really, really irks me that there are no extra hands in there, because they should have been. It's just my copy. So, and they were in a section of the packaging where you couldn't tell. It's where the image of him was. So I couldn't even tell that they weren't in there. I opened it and I was like, oh shit, there's no hands in here. So I'd say be careful, but you have to might look behind the I don't know. Good luck, guys. Just be careful with that. I just thought I'd throw that out there. So now I'm going to run through the articulation, which is arguably the coolest thing about this figure, because you would think that with a head like this, they would have to take articulation out. They really did not, and I'm going to go ahead and show you why they didn't. So he's not going to be able to look up, per se, but if you open that mouth, you can get him to look up pretty much all the way, which is crazy. So obviously the mouth does open all the way. Still have all the sculpt in there. I'm going to show a cool little feature at the end here. He does have butterfly joints, believe it or not, so you can get them to go forward and back. You can get him to hinge his arm out that far, down that much, rotate 360. He only has a single jointed elbow. That gives him rotation there, so you don't get a bicep swivel, and then swivel and hinge on the hands. I think vertical hinges would have been nice on this, but not completely necessary because he's holding a giant fork and knife. Now, this is the part that surprised me the most. He has a ball joint underneath his head, so you can get him to go all the way around, rotate, pivot, and crunch forward and back. That is sick. So you can get them in running poses and things like that. That is awesome. They didn't need to do that, but the fact that they did is super, super nice. So I really, really like that. The hips are going to move outwards that far. He's only going to kick about that far forward, but if you kick it out a little bit, you can get him to go further. Back, not so much. You do have an upper thigh cut. Double jointed knees. I wish he was pinless, but he's not, which kind of blows. And then hinge up, down, and pivot. So the articulation is, if I did individual ratings like Anthony's Customs, would be a 10 out of 10 for this guy. I mean, you take a character like this and try to make it into an articulated plastic form. That is not an easy thing to do, and I think Hasbro did a great job on that. So to articulate something like this is awesome, and I really like the way that it looks. Now, I don't really know what to compare him to because I don't have any other Lightning Collection figures. This is actually my first Lightning Collection figure, but when all else fails and I don't have anything to compare him to, we bring in old Zombie Cat. Now, this is a regular Marvel Legend, and this is a regular deluxe figure. Same company, same price points for the lines, $10 more for this guy. Now, this, don't get me wrong, you guys know I love Zombie Cat, and he's in my top 10 figures of the year, maybe number 1. Definitely best Marvel Legend. Pudgy Pig is up there. He might be in the top 10, which is crazy considering I don't really like Power Rangers at all. But this is a damn good figure. So this is them together. Now, the one thing that I wanted to show you guys, which I think is an awesome feature of this figure, he has a fork and a knife, so this shouldn't come as any surprise. You can shove figures in his mouth. That's pretty goddamn awesome. Now, yeah, sure, he's not going to go all the way in, but I've seen some people like pop the torsos off and then plug in like the lower, like pop the abdomen off and then plug the torso in so it looks like he's swallowing them whole. That is awesome. That is so sick. I really, really, really like that feature of the figure. It is, again, something they didn't need to do, but the fact that they did really ups the ante on this toy and makes it completely worth it. Not to mention his sheer size. Like, he's a big, I would say beefy boy, but I would say a big porky boy. Get it? You know, because beef comes from cows and pork, and he's a pig. But anyway, he's a big boy. And the fact that you can pretty much get half of a figure in his mouth, come on now. That's pretty goddamn awesome. So, people, I know it's that time of the video where you're going, yo, Ant, give me some thoughts on this figure. And guys, let's be honest here, it's no surprise. This freaking thing rocks. Like, who thought a giant pig head with a fork and a knife and a Trojan helmet would be an awesome figure? I didn't. I knew who the character was solely off of thinking it was completely ridiculous. And I remember they had a Funko Pop a couple years ago, and I was like, what the fuck is this? I picked it up. Thought it was super cool, remembered back in childhood that this thing existed, was like, oh my god, that's cool, and then put it right back down. But then, seeing the Lightning Collection make this, boom, you're done. Sold. You sold Anthony here. You sold him. But anyway, I'm giving this figure an easy 10 out of 10 for what they... QC might bring it down. The fact that I did not get interchangeable hands sucks ass. I really, really hate that. Like, I'm going to try to email them about that. That really sucks. But if they were included, this figure's an easy 10 out of 10 and probably is going to be in my top 10 of the year. Who knows? This is a good ass figure. But anyway, I think that's all I got for today. I would love to mention that we are currently, at the time of this recording, hosting a giveaway on my channel. Go ahead, just go to my channel. It should be not too far below this one. And go enter that giveaway. It's really, really simple. Go ahead, watch that video. I have some awesome updates on that, which you see them in this video, but, you know, it's still cool to see them and hear me talk about nonsense. I shout out some amazing people in that video, so the support is very, very much appreciated. If you have not already on this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and do yourself a favor. And me, because, you know, it's a win-win situation. You get to watch some awesome videos, and I get to talk to some great people. But that's all I got for today, so I will see you guys in the next one. And as always, let me know. You coppin'? Peace.